The Broncos have dominated their opening 2 preseason games. Is this a foreshadowing of things to come for the regular season? We're going deep. Did I get you up early this morning? It's 11. This is going to be our normal show time. Are you cool? If you were single and not married with 2 kids,
yeah,
this might be early for you, but you're good now.
Might be early for me if I was in high school or college. I don't sleep that late anymore,
Yeah.
A grown man who sleeps till noon
Right.
has some problems.
And is probably unemployed.
And probably stays up till 4 a.m.
Gaming. Are you a gamer?
Absolutely not.
Me either.
Are esports athletes real athletes, Eric?
I don't think so. Are they?
No, I don't think they're athletes. I memean, if you're pushing buttons isn't a sport, in
Right.
my opinion. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No.
But they take it very seriously.
Right.
Like, a lot of athletes before their competition, they will abstain from intercourse, so they don't have that release.
That was a double entendre right there.
Well,
Intercourse and the word release in the same sentence.
Right. Like boxers won't,
Right.
For weeks before, swimmers won't, football players sometimes don't. Esports gamers will abstain from sex their entire lives before a match and then just keep on abstaining afterwards. That's how much they care about their sport.
Well, I do 7 shows a week.
Mm.
We do 2 shows a week together.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Hurdle and I, we have a podcast called Hot Takes with Goodman and Hurdle. So I do that 5 days a week. And I don't like to do that on game day.
Okay.
So because I have 7 shows, my wife
the
is
weekends
like,
are busy, right?
The weekends are, for lack of a better phrase, full. With that, this episode is brought to you by Landmark Lincoln and the new Lincoln Navigator. It's next level luxury and power, everything that you want in a ride. You got to try this thing out for yourself. Go take a test drive today. See our friends at Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Englewood, or go to landmarklincoln.com. So the way we started the show, the Broncos have dominated 2 preseason games, offensively and defensively. Is this a foreshadowing of things to come, or is this the preseason? You're not really playing your starters and you're not really game planning.
Yeah, I mean, typically I would say you can't make a lot of this because historical precedent would suggest that. Right. There's teams who have really strong preseasons and suck. There's teams that during the regular season, there's opposite teams that struggle in the preseason and then figure it out. But I think in this regard, we can take a lot of positive stuff from this and feel good about the direction of the Broncos because they have decided to sit the one so much. And we have been able to see these young players, these rookies, these backups, second and third stringers fighting and competing at a level that is a really high level. And so we can feel good about the depth on this team. Now, I don't know what we've learned about the first team.
Right.
Not much at all.
Right.
But the cool thing about what's happening now is the first teamers are watching this and they're like, okay, I better get my shit together.
You think Bo's a little nervous with the way Stidham has played?
I do.
Really?
Sure. He's only human, man.
You think that
he ain't dumb?
You think that Bo Nix is honestly worried about losing his job?
Worried,
knowing that Sean Payton said this guy's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the next 2 years.
I think that he understands the nature of this beast. And that is if he were to, for whatever reason, get off to a really awful start or get injured and get replaced by Jarrett, and Jarrett plays the way he's playing now,
right,
then he might not ever see the field again. That's just how it goes. And if Jarrett Stidham took over in week 9 and led this team to a playoff win or even a Super Bowl victory next year, this time it would be like, Bo who? And he knows that. But it's the same for every single position on the field.
Not for quarterback with Bo Nix. I wouldn't say that.
I think Drew Bledsoe might have something to say about that.
I don't think Drew Bledsoe is ever looking over his shoulder at Ian Book.
That's what what I'm talking about is Tom Brady. Once Tom took over, showed his acumen, showed his ability to lead his team to victory, Drew Bledsoe never saw the field again. It's about winning. And if you can lead your team to victory as a quarterback, you're going to have a space on the field.
Generally speaking, you don't want your backup quarterback playing. Generally speaking, you want your backup quarterback to fill in for 2, maybe 3 games in case of injury.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Right.
With the way Stidham has played, it's almost as if he has recalculated his DNA. He seems to be far more athletic. He's running the offense well. So with that, How confident would you feel if, for the sake of argument, Stidham had to play 6 games, not 2 or 3?
Based on what we've seen, training camp, these last preseason games, pretty darn confident. But what that shows me also is that this offense, this team is playing at a high level.
Right.
The coaches are articulating the message and what they're trying to accomplish in a way that everybody is getting and executing. Because Jarrett Stidham, not the only one playing at a high level. Sam Ehlinger also really played really well. Only a couple incompletions.
So is it the quarterback that's better and more than pretty good? Or is it the system, the play calls, the talent around, and the coaching?
Now you're seeing what I'm getting at. This is a team sport, and all 3 quarterbacks are playing at a high level. And I would imagine if you close your eyes, you couldn't see it. But
well done.
But all 3 of those guys are playing kind of comparable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to go out and practice, would you say Bo is clearly better than Jarrett Stidham during training camp? Would you say that?
Well, the way that I would rephrase it, but you said it correctly, is if you didn't know anything about football and you just landed from Mars on a spaceship to Denver and you watched and you knew nothing about football, would you be able to say that guy's the number 1 quarterback?
No, because you knew nothing about football and you were from Mars. So you'd have a lot more questions about things.
You're watching guys out there completing passes and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, smart ass. Point is, could you really tell a difference between Nix and Stidham if you had no idea who was the anointed quarterback of the future?
Yeah, I think the answer is pretty much no. Maybe a little more mobility. Obviously, he's out there more, so you figure this guy's more important because he's getting more attention and more reps, but they're both playing at a very high level. The same was the case last year with those 3 quarterbacks. On a day-to-day basis, they all kind of look the same, right? So what this tells me is that the offense as a team is moving in the right direction, and the coaches are articulating everyone's roles in a way that makes people comfortable and able to go out there and execute it.
I know that Mike Shanahan is spending his time with Kyle and the 49ers. But if he was watching the game on Saturday, I'm guessing he saw 2 guys he would have loved to have had on his team. And that is Troy Franklin and also the rookie Bryant. Not because of the numbers. Franklin, 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bryant, 4 passes, 70 yards. It was their concurrent blocks. And that's what Shanahan loved. Blocking wide receivers.
Yeah.
Rod Smith, McCaffrey. That's why you stayed as long as you did.
Yeah.
You weren't just a willing blocker. You were a very good blocker, and you took it seriously. So with that, with performance, with what we saw, not just in that game, but what we have seen in training camp, when you look at who the Broncos had sit out at the wide receiver position, Sutton, Mims, and Vele, probably in that order. Do you think either Bryant or Franklin have moved up the depth chart to surpass any of those 3 guys?
I would say not yet, but it might just be a matter of time here. Because
you just pointed to what was not a watch, but in
it's
theory,
it's universally known as a watch symbol, right?
Your hairy wrist.
I do have a hairy wrist, and so do you, but it's covered
I do.
With that wonderful coat.
Thank you for the false praise.
Like I was saying before, these starters who are watching these games have to watch their backups balling and say, okay, I got to step it up. Just like Bo, just like I was saying, everybody knows that they're one play away from being replaced and never ever seen the field again, right? And so when you have a team with this much depth and young, hungry players who are playing this well, not just catching the ball, but as you mentioned, blocking, it really puts the pressure on those guys up front to go and do even better. Cortland Sutton is the elder statesman. He's making all the money. He's the only guy on a real contract there. Everyone else is on a first-year contract, right, in that room.
Amazing,
which is pretty incredible. And so all those guys want to be there. They want to get to that. And they're going to do everything the coach asks for. And, you know, you talk about Rod Smith and McCaffrey, the blocking, the imperative for a receiver blocking. That was almost more important than catching the ball for us, because how many catches are you going to make in a game? If you have 5, 6, that's a good game, right? 7 or 8. But how many runs are there going to be when you're in there? 10, 20, 30 if you're a heavy running team. You got to block every single play. And when you have a running back who goes for 100 yards, I get to feel proud about that. Every guy on the field gets to feel proud about that.
I want to take you back, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot. You played from the Broncos, I believe, from 03 to 08. Is that correct?
That is.
take yourself out of it with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Give me any particular season. Pick your best season in which that wide receiver room was strong. Who are the top 5 wide receivers?
Yeah, so I played tight end for 4 years, and I was a receiver for 2. So in my first 2 years
But take yourself out as a wide receiver. So who would the top 5 be?
Well, I guess probably my first year, because it was Rod.
Yep.
It was Ed.
Yes.
It was, and then, Chris Cole, I think.
Enough said. Enough said.
Right.
Enough said.
Right.
I am guessing Mike Shanahan would not have felt comfortable going into the season with your 4th and 5th wide receivers. With that, how comfortable should Sean Payton feel about if, God forbid, something happened?
Oh, yeah.
Starting the season with Franklin and Bryant.
I don't think he would love that, okay? Even though what we did see was good.
Do you think he would like it? Do you think it would make him feel uncomfortable?
A little bit.
Really?
A little bit. I think, again, we got to pump the brakes on our excitement about what guys do in the preseason. Now, they're showing a lot. Pat Bryant obviously looks more mature as a player than being a rookie, and we've seen Troy Franklin make improvements, leaps and bounds. We feel very good about where they are. But you're going to see number 1 defenses who have been resting and who are ready to attack, right? So you do want some veteran presence in there. You do want a security blanket for Bo that Cortland is, and you do want some depth. And so if those guys were out and those 2 guys were starting, well, who's behind them?
Right.
Because then you need some depth and some guys to come in. And
I'm just talking about those 2 guys starting.
Those 2 guys starting.
Forget about depth. Forget about Vele, Sutton, and Mims. I'm just saying those 2 guys, if they lined up on the field, first play of the game against the Titans, would you feel uneasy?
A little bit, just because we haven't seen him ever do that in a regular season game.
Well, we've seen Troy Franklin do it a lot.
In a regular season game. We've seen him have, some opportunities that he wasn't able to capitalize on last year.
But he's improved a ton. He's a different guy.
But there's a difference between preseason and the regular season.
Right.
We're going to see that difference on September 7th.
All right. Broncos had 5 pass catchers on Saturday. I understand it's the preseason. They caught at least 50 yards or more. All 5 guys averaged at least 17 yards a catch. That's nuts.
Well, because they had the 50-yarder.
Yes. Well, no, they had 50-plus yards of just in receiving. I thought you meant
they all had a 50-yard.
No. 5 guys caught at least 50 yards worth of passes.
Yeah.
But those passes averaged over 17 yards a catch, which is stunning.
Got it.
How many times this season do you think the Broncos will have at least 3, maybe 4 guys catch at least 50 yards worth of passes?
I think it should happen every game.
At least 3 or 4 guys.
At least 3 or 4 guys.
That is crazy.
Because you don't have a Jamar Chase on this team. You don't have a guy you're just going to be feeding. Right. This is about putting guys in the positions that suits them, taking advantage of defensive weaknesses and vulnerabilities, creating misdirection. And what happened in that game was guys were wide open, running free. I mean, there are big swaths of land that are unoccupied in the middle of the field. You catch a ball, you're going to get to run with it. Why are those swaths of land open? Because guys are confused. Defensive players are falling for little misdirections and things and play action, which they did on Evan Ingram's catch. And he had a lot of room to work with over there because it was a well-designed, and it wasn't a crazy difficult game plan, but that was a well-designed play. That was a play action pass. He comes across the field, and we're used to seeing our tight ends open running across the field. Evan Ingram has the kind of speed and burst that most tight ends don't, and you saw him take advantage of that.
Listen, we're not going to sit and spend much time talking about the Arizona Cardinals secondary, but what we saw in that game is exactly what we saw in that joint practice. Broncos pass catchers were wide open in that joint practice, and it carried over to the game. Running game. Jaleel McLaughlin, the cement has been poured, and it's pretty much dry. He is the number 3 running back on this team.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, I do. You don't? You still have questions about him?
I don't have questions about Jaleel. I have questions about what they want from that room. Jaleel had a lot of opportunities last year. You wonder how they view him, how they view his role on the team. If you're the number 3 running back and you have your other 2 guys who you want to give the ball to, how many touches is Jaleel going to get? Does it justify a jersey on game day? Can he play special teams? These are a lot of questions that you have to answer when you're figuring out your 53.
So wait, but compared to Buh-Day,
Yeah.
Watson, and Estime.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting McLaughlin isn't better than those guys?
No, I like Jaleel, and I think he should be on this team.
Correct.
I just, last year he had a lot of promise, but never really popped.
Right. Same thing with Franklin, but this is a year later now.
Yeah, but
Franklin
Jaleel
has taken a major
Isn't Jaleel
step.
a third-year guy, or is he he wasn't a rookie
he's
last
year? He's a third-year guy.
Yeah, so he's a little more. He's been given a few more opportunities. And running backs a little bit.
Maybe a second year.
I think the maturation process is a little bit different from a running back to a receiver. There's more things you got to learn as a receiver. A running back is you get the rock and you run it.
Right.
The receivers, there's a little more to negotiate there, so the learning curve can be a little bit steeper.
Did you see anything in terms of an improvement with RJ Harvey being patient, making his cut, finding a hole in his second preseason game? In his first preseason game, it seemed like he wanted to outrun everybody to the outside.
Well, I think the criticism RJ Harvey got after the first game was a little bit unfounded. I think there was one play that he probably should have stayed inside with and bounced it out. And that's stuff you learn as you go. To me, RJ Harvey looks like a very competent NFL running back already. He's a rookie. He's confident. He's quick. He's strong. He doesn't go down easy. He's got huge thighs.
Right.
I think we feel really good about RJ Harvey. And, we talked about this last week. Who's going to be the starter? Is it going to be it's going to be RJ Harvey after, maybe not play week one.
Instead of a swear jar, we should have a I'm right jar.
Well, no,
I'm right jar.
No, we don't know.
So if I'm right, you have to contribute.
Well, if
you're right,
yet.
I have to contribute.
We don't know yet. And Sean Payton has shown a lot of deference to veterans, right? Like you have, as a rookie, you got to earn your way in. I mean,
RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's your exception.
Maybe not.
Bo Nix is your exception. Bo Nix started day one.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Right.
So, but we don't know if RJ Harvey's going to start day one. J.K. Dobbins is the veteran in the room, and maybe that'll light a fire under RJ Harvey's ass if he has to start on the bench or whatever. We don't know Sean Payton's psychology there. It's a long season. This is 17 games, hopefully plus playoffs. There's a long way to go here. We don't need to get him going week one.
Handicap it right now. Cut down day is a week from today.
Yeah.
Watson, Buh-Day, Estime. Which one of those three stay on the roster? I think they're only going to take 4 tailbacks.
I would say Buh-Day.
Okay, I agree.
I think that Estime, although they've really enjoyed his potential, wanted him to work out, pulling for the kid. You got to remember, he's still the youngest dude on this roster. He's 21. Yeah. That means he was 20 last year, a 20-year-old guy in the NFL.
He went from 20 to 21?
Well, I'm saying
that's odd.
I'm just saying, man, a 20-year-old kid,
right?
Toting the rock at the grandest stage in the world. It's kind of, you understand his sort of jitters maybe, but he hasn't really turned that corner yet. And the clock is ticking, and so he's got to get it going. And maybe he's a practice squad guy. Maybe he gets picked up somewhere else.
I don't believe yet, because we haven't seen it unfold. I don't believe right now the Broncos are the type of team where you would say about them that you would maybe about the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Eagles. The only way they're really going to lose is if they beat themselves. They're not at that point yet. But in the preseason, the Broncos, despite putting up big numbers offensively and giving up few numbers defensively, have done a pretty good job of trying to beat themselves. 7 pre-snap penalties on Saturday, 11 in total. They had 11 penalties for 89 yards in the preseason opener against the 49ers. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I am panicking here. Where are you at on these penalties in the preseason?
Yeah, I would say a 5. I mean, it's not nothing, and in a close game, that'll get you beat.
Yeah.
Right. And the pre-snap penalties especially are, head scratchers because this team is so well coached. They are smart football players. Sean Payton takes them through the situational football stuff.
I got to listen back to that.
Situational. So he wants smart football players. He stops practice to explain things. He goes over scenarios that are uncommon so these guys understand what they're seeing and what they're doing, because that can cost you a game. But at the same time, sometimes the play's slow getting in. and they're complex plays. He's
not anymore.
No, I know he's changed it to one word.
Yes.
But how has that hamstrung his process? Because he's only human as well. And so does that make it harder for him to, figure out the play, and he's got to cross-reference and figure out what it was called before. And so there's an adjustment for him now too. Whereas before, he was just doing it how he's used to doing it.
So coaches will say after a game where there's a lot of penalties,
yeah,
they'll say at the podium, when we get back, we're going to work on fixing that.
Yeah.
Take us in the locker room and onto the practice field. What does fixing that look like?
Yeah. So, having a play clock out there and having someone making sure we know that the play clock's ticking down. That's a delay of game type of thing. Pre-snap false starts and things like that. Well, you just have to do it more at practice. You have to go on 2 more at practice. You have to go on first sound. You have to do hard counts. You have to do things like that, which in training camp, sometimes you can overlook that because you're worried about so many other things. You're just like, all right, on one, ready, break. You're just so used to saying on one that the muscle memory gets trained to move on one. And then all of a sudden, you got a defense who you're playing against you haven't seen before, and they're jumping the snap count. So we're going on 2 now. We're going on 2. We're trying to draw this guy off. Right. But my muscle memory so used to moving on 1, Eric, that I don't think about it. All of a sudden, boom, I'm false starting. So what you do is you go back and you say, today we're doing alternative snap counts. We're not going on 1. We're going on first sound. We're going on hard count. We're going on 3. We're going on 2. We're doing all that stuff. And if you focus on that and make that a point of emphasis, you can clean it up.
If you can make it muscle memory, but I don't know if one practice does that.
Not one,
and I don't know if you work on that every day. So when
you just got to mix it up every day. You can't go on 1 all the time. You got to do every day, go on multiple different snap counts.
Yep.
And so that you get used to doing that.
Want to tell you about the brand new 2025 Lincoln Navigator at Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Englewood. This thing is loaded. It is smooth. It is powerful. It's not the type of ride you want, grandpa sitting behind the wheel with, the knuckles that... can handle it, Nate. I can handle it. If you're 30 years old, you can handle it because you want that power. And when you go to Landmark Lincoln, all you have to do is check out the reviews, just how good they are. Nearly 5-star for almost every review, with nearly 600 reviews, plus their mobile pickup and video inspections. They make service easy. Go to Landmark Lincoln on South Broadway or visit landmarklincoln.com online. You want to drive this thing, go in for a test drive today. Let's move it over to the defense. They dominated for the second straight week, specifically against the run. Generally speaking, it's the same type of question I'm going to ask you when you look at the preseason. Is it the preseason? You're playing the 2s and the 3s, or is this a foreshadowing of things to come? What can you pull out of what the defense has done?
To me, you can pull out of it that the running game, running the football on offense and stopping the run on defense has been a point of emphasis for Sean Payton and this coaching staff going into this season.
Right.
It has to be. Because why? They went into Buffalo in the playoffs and got mollywopped. Waka!
Mollywopped.
Yeah, you never heard that?
No, what does that mean?
It means you got your ass kicked, man.
Okay.
You
got boat raced?
No, boat race means everyone's going fast. Boat race, you know what I mean? Like, there's the other boats moving quickly too. That's not a good metaphor.
It's not.
No.
God, I've been using that for way too long. Thank you for correcting me.
Because if one boat, if they're both, that boat races, they're both moving.
Well, if somebody has a cigar boat and another person has a rowboat,
that's true.
You got boat raced.
But that's not a fair race to start. Who sanctioned that event? That's what I want to know, right? No, the Broncos got taught a lesson in Buffalo versus the Bills in the playoffs. Yes, you went 10-7. Cute season. What are you going to do in the playoffs? The team with a stronger running game typically wins those playoff games. It's colder. It's a different style. It's a brutal reality in the playoffs. It's a more intense game. Everyone's tired because the season is long. The team that can establish the line of scrimmage is going to win those games. And I feel like Sean Payton and his team or his coaching staff is articulating that to these guys. Okay, we had a good season. Here's what we were missing. We're going to make it an emphasis at practice. And so the running game on the offense has gotten stronger. And conversely, the guys who have to go against them every day get stronger as well. And so this is indicative of the depth on the team, but also their ability and their focus on stopping the run.
Hopefully they don't need to use that depth. But again, you look at the last couple of years, for the most part, starters are always out there. For the last 2 years, that has been the case. And they haven't had that type of depth. that they have right now.
Yeah.
And when I look at this depth, it's almost as if they really don't skip a beat.
No.
Do they?
And you shouldn't. That's what a good team is.
Right.
People think that like, oh, you're not a starter. You must suck at football. Oh, this starter got hurt. This backup's in. All is lost.
I find it amusing that someone would say you suck at
football.
football.
Come on. I'm being a little facetious here.
Right. No, but I find it that someone is criticizing an NFL player on his couch.
What I mean is, and there are a lot of people who do that, right?
You can't do that.
No, nobody
Shut
does
up and
that.
just enjoy the game.
Shut up and play, right?
Right. Well, we don't. Yeah.
No, good. But look,
that's become a racial overtone these days. But we don't need to go down that road.
I know we don't.
No,
we've already. Yeah. So
you didn't take the heat. I did.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're used to it though. You're a pro. Not used to it, but you can handle it. You're a pro.
I ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
I ignore it. Listen, when somebody calls you a white supremacist and a racist, and you think, am I? I don't think, am I? I know I'm not. Well, so you can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. So the difference between
I have lots of black friends. Isn't that always the answer? I have lots of black friends.
So the difference between the starter on the team and the practice squad player is a lot thinner than you would think. You go to practice and the practice squad guy is often handling your starter. And, oh, he's a Pro Bowler and he's getting torched today by this guy. Who is this guy? He's a pro football player too.
Right.
The more depth you have on your team, the closer the margin of difference is between your best player and your worst player. And if your best player gets hurt and another guy has to go in and play, you don't want to miss a beat. That's what you're trying to create. No drop off whatsoever.
Right.
And the coach is articulating that to these guys. If you have to go in this game and win it for us, you never know when a guys get hurt. I've been in a position where I went into a game thinking I was going to be a special teams guy and maybe a couple plays on offense. And lo and behold, 2 minutes left in the game, I'm on the field on the final drive trying to win the game because of an injury. I cannot make the mistake that loses us the game. Right. And so that's what this team is showing to you, is that they have the type of players who are going to be able to jump into the game in the fourth quarter and help their team win.
Right. Without skipping a beat.
Where
you're not looking out there going, we got a leak in the boat right here.
Exactly. You won't notice he's on the field.
Before training camp, even before OTAs, when they started to compile and build their roster, and the last real piece was J.K. Dobbins. So let's take it there. Once they signed J.K. Dobbins, in your own mind, and I know games aren't won on paper, in your head, was this a 9-win team, 10-win team, 8-win team, 7-win team? Give me a quick answer because I don't want to follow up.
9 or 10?
9 or 10.
Yeah.
With what you have seen now at training camp and in these games, and you have seen the depth, and the quarterbacks are playing well, and the system looks good, although we haven't seen a lot of the first team out there. Has your opinion changed on how many wins they might get this season?
Because of J.K. Dobbins?
No. Once they filled out their roster.
Yeah, I think
you knew what the draft looked like. You knew what they did in free agency with Ingram and Greenlaw and Hufanga.
Yeah.
Once you knew what their roster looked like, your prediction was 9-10 wins. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now that you have seen them in preseason games and you have seen them in practice a lot, has your opinion changed on how many wins they might have this year?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 12-win team.
Wow.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 7-win team either. And here's why. Because there's so many variables that go into this. The Broncos had a lot of fortune last year in certain moments in the game, opportunistic plays by the defense.
So this has nothing to do with injury.
It could,
take injuries out of it. But to your point, certain things happen at the right time. Maybe,
but also teams that you think are going to be good or not.
Right.
The Raiders going to be any good? We don't know.
I think they'll be better.
Are the Chargers going to be any good? We don't know.
Yeah.
Are the Chiefs about to backslide?
No.
Is the dynasty done?
Yeah.
We don't know that. That's 6 games right there. And so these Broncos have to go play very competitive teams that also have Super Bowl aspirations. And so on paper, based on what they did last year and what they added, this could be a 12-win team. But is everything going to click into place? We don't know that yet, and you mentioned injuries and a lot of things can happen. So, but I think this team could be very good.
When I was a kid growing up, I watched the Bears. I grew up in Chicago. And in 1985, even though the Bears, I believe, were the highest scoring were the second highest scoring offense in the league.
Jim McMahon, baby.
People totally forget how productive that offense was. Now, granted, the defense forced a lot of turnovers, gave short fields, but they still had Walter Payton and yada, yada, yada. Who was
yada, yada, yada? Was he the tight end or?
That was Matt Suey.
Oh.
Or Keith Van Horn or Jimbo Covert.
Oh.
It could have been Tom Thayer, but maybe on the defensive line. Could have been Dan Hampton, Richard Dent, Steve McMichael, Refrigerator Perry. And then you look at the linebackers. It could have been Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall, Mike Singletary. Now in the corners. So I was a big fan growing up.
Apparently.
Point is, when I was a kid, I wanted the offense off the field as quickly as possible. All I wanted to do is watch that defense terrorize quarterbacks. As we go into this season, and this defense is expected, not supposed to be, expected to be very good. Are you going to kind of feel that way a little bit? Like, I really just want to watch the defense, or are you as equally excited about this offense?
Well, I'm an offensive guy, so I really want to watch this offense improve. And, but I do think the defense has the ability to be the best defense in the NFL. If you can name a better one right now, tell me. I don't.
Ravens.
Why?
Why? Because they're like the Broncos. They are loaded at every level, and they really improved their secondary.
Well, the Broncos,
and they can control the ball better than the Broncos, and they have a 2-time MVP at quarterback. But when it comes to wide receivers, as much as I like me some Zay Flowers, I'll take the Broncos' top 5 wide receivers.
Broncos led the league in sacks last year. Maybe some of that was indicative of the bad quarterback play that they faced. But they're going to have everyone's back, and then some. You mentioned the pieces they've improved or added to the defense, and some young players playing real hungry. And so I don't see any reason why this Broncos defense can't be a top 3 defense, and they'll be even better if the Broncos can find a way to score early on offense in games, right? Come out of the gate, put points on the board, and then allow your defense to play with a lead. That's what they didn't do very often last year, or haven't been able to do for a while around here. Even though the Broncos offense improved as the season went on, building early leads is what they need to do, and this will take a lot of pressure off the defense and allow them to pin their ears back and attack.
I say this with all due respect to you, and I say it for this reason. You were an NFL player, period. No one can take that away from you. Whether you're 1 on the roster or 53, you made the team.
But
there is no but.
Okay, cool.
You were an NFL player. But for a lot of your career, you were on the back end, meaning you were kind of a bubble guy every year. You always made the team. So with a week to go before cuts, how are guys feeling who are bubble guys with 1 preseason game to go?
Incredibly anxious. This is not a fun time for them because, there's 90 guys on the roster, and they used to have multiple cut down days. Now it's just 1. So there's going to be, it comes down to 53. So 37 guys are going to get cut next week. 16 of them might end up on the practice squad. They might pull some other guys from other spots on the practice squad, but a lot of guys are going to have to say goodbye. And that moment when they come back into the meeting room, that first meeting of the regular season, you look around at all the empty chairs, you realize that everyone's gone. A lot of your friends are gone, right? And at this point, there's not a ton you can do. The coaches pretty much know what they're doing right now. Now, there might be a couple spots up for grabs here, but you're going to go out and try to do it all in this game. You got to control yourself. You got to try to relax and play free. And that's what the coaches are going to tell you. They're going to tell you the night before the game, after they dismiss the starters and they all go home or go to watch film. It's just the guys on the bubble who are left in that room. And the coach is going to say, look, this is a job interview for 31 other teams. So go out there and leave it on the field. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. This is your last, some of you, this might be your last football game you ever play. That's a hard sort of thought to keep in your mind when you go out and play. You don't want to think that it's your last game. What you want to think is that it's going to be your best game. And so you go out there and play the best you can. And then the next day, you got to stay by your phone. If you just turn your phone off, maybe you don't get cut. Maybe you just, and then you just show up and you're like, hey, where's my locker?
Sunday, let's say you're sitting over there and your phone is over here.
Yeah.
Every time that phone rings, how much does your heart skip a beat?
It's not a fun time. It isn't. But that phone could ring, and it's the facility saying, we want to sign you to the practice squad.
So does the phone ring either way?
If you are being released, it rings. If you're going to be put on the practice squad, it rings. If you're on the active roster, you made the 53, it ain't ringing. They have no reason to call you.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when it does ring and you have to go in, you still, even if you're, getting put on the practice squad, you still have to go up and talk to coach and everything. So you'll be sitting in a line of guys waiting to go in and talk to coach. And some of those guys are getting cut outright, and some of you are landing on the practice squad. So there's a mix of emotions in that room.
Is there less stress now than what you dealt with because the practice squad is so much bigger?
I don't think it's yeah, there's that hope, but it's still like, I don't want to be on the practice squad. I mean, I'll take it, but I want to be on the active roster here.
You do, but at least you have a uniform. At least you're getting paid.
Yeah.
At least you don't have to find another job. At least you don't have to move potentially your family.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I made the practice squad, I was very relieved for all those reasons you just described. I bought a brand new Denali the first week I was on the practice squad.
Smart.
Super smart.
Oh, what a brilliant financial move that was.
I had it
making the practice squad.
Yeah. I had it for 17 years until it was stolen.
Really?
Yeah. When I moved back here during COVID.
Huh.
It was stolen. So
do you think they stole it because it's a Denali, or they stole it because, hey, Nate Jackson owned this?
Because it's a Denali and it was very easy to steal. You stick a screwdriver in that thing and boop, starts right up.
Didn't you know that before you bought it?
It wasn't that way in 2003. With all the push button starters, Denver is a very car theft heavy market.
I did not know that, and I don't want to find out.
Did you not know that?
My car hasn't been stolen yet.
Well, it's because you drive a Tesla.
I do.
Yeah. So you're one of those guys.
No.
Wait. Move out of the way. Tesla driver coming through. The worst drivers on the road somehow are the Tesla drivers.
It's because we have so much speed.
It's because you have so much angst.
No, it's because the giddy up is so fast you can fly lane to lane. But my favorite reason about owning, and there's a lot of we need to talk about cars.
Why not?
Although if you want to go to Landmark Lincoln,
that's right.
I would highly okay, with that, we shouldn't be talking about cars. My favorite moment actually owning that car was I lived near Arapahoe High School, and I was sitting at a stoplight.
Yeah. And
there was some kid in some souped up car. And he's looking over at me. And I'm like,
you want to do this?
Dude, do you really want a fucking piece of this?
Ooh.
Because a Tesla can beat a Jaguar off the line.
Wow.
0 to 60 in that thing is an experience. It's like going on a roller coaster where you just fly back.
Yeah.
But you should still go to Landmark Lincoln and try out the new 2025 Lincoln Navigator.
That's right.
Take it for a test drive today.
That's right.
We probably shouldn't have talked about cars.
Oh, come on. It doesn't matter.
Okay. With that, I can't even imagine what those guys are going through right now, who are specifically in Audric Estime.
Yeah. And it's also a difficult game because, the starters aren't playing, so there's not as many guys suited up. So you got to be ready to basically play the whole game. It's a very tiring game, and you're playing special teams. Because if you're being kept, if you're the back end of the roster, you got to play special teams to get on the field. So they're going to see you doing that as well. So those last preseason games, I was playing kickoff return, punt return, and every play on offense. And it was just so tiring. And so they want to see how you respond to being asked to do that many things as well.
Generally speaking, this late in training camp, is everything pretty much baked in the cake, or is there a guy in that roster right now that could have a Terrell Davis moment overseas, make this huge bone crushing hit, and suddenly you're like, we might need to keep that guy? Or is everything pretty much, has the cement dried pretty much?
I think it's pretty dry here. I mean, because you have such a big body of work going into this from the day they show up till now. You got to start putting it in pen. You got to start figuring out what your game plan is. I mean, they're already game planning for Tennessee. And so they got to figure out where they're at. But I would say if one guy really pops off the screen or one running back takes the, who knows what that could put in their minds. But, there's always like a preseason darling guy who has some great last game and then you never hear from him again.
Right.
Albert Okwuegbunam. You remember Albert O?
I do.
Yeah. And then he ends up in Philly and he's disappeared.
Okwuegbunam?
No, it's not Okwuegbunam.
Well, that's what half the announcers said.
Right.
Which all I thought to myself was, learn how to pronounce these guys' names and be a professional. Serious. Mispronouncing names to me is a major, it's a major flaw in somebody's work ethic.
Okay.
That if they don't learn to pronounce somebody's name
Yeah.
on national television,
Yeah.
shame on you. Sorry, you're not a pro. I don't care how good you are doing play by play. You have told me how you prep.
Yep.
You've told me exactly how you prep.
Yep.
And shame on you. Those are pre-snap penalties.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. You can clean those up. Just put in the extra work.
That's going to do it for us. Don't forget, every Monday and Thursday, 11 o'clock. That is our new time moving forward for the rest of the season. He's Nate. I'm Eric. We just went deep. Did we go deep?
Very deep.
Let's leave it at that. Make it the best possible day you can.